What happened after a surrender during a Civil War siege? What happens after a surrender during a Civil War siege? This moment is often filled with tension and a mix of emotions. When a garrison surrendered, the defeated soldiers would typically lay down their arms. This meant turning over their weapons, equipment, and battle flags to the victorious forces. The act of surrender was a significant step in the conflict, marking a transition from battle to a new reality. Once the surrender was official, the soldiers were usually paroled. This meant they were released with the understanding that they would not take up arms again. Instead of being imprisoned, they were allowed to return home. This practice aimed to maintain dignity for the defeated soldiers and encourage a peaceful reconciliation. A notable example of this occurred during the surrender of Confederate General Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia to Union General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse in April 1865. The Confederate soldiers surrendered their weapons and flags but were allowed to keep their horses and personal sidearms. This leniency was part of a broader strategy to promote healing after the conflict. Union forces were instructed to avoid excessive celebration or taunting. This was important to foster a sense of respect and dignity for the defeated troops. Additionally, arrangements were made to provide food rations to the starving Confederate soldiers. Union officials also offered care for Confederate prisoners of war who were in Union camps. In the context of a siege, the defeated garrison would stack their rifles and park artillery where they had been stationed. They would leave behind their battle flags as a symbol of surrender. The victorious army might assist with transportation or supply needs for the defeated soldiers as they returned home. This was especially true when Union troops were not available in large numbers to oversee the process. The terms of surrender were often negotiated to preserve the honor of the defeated troops. This approach aimed to avoid unnecessary hardship and reflected a desire to restore peace and order after prolonged conflict. While the surrender at Appomattox is the most famous example, other Confederate forces surrendered in the months that followed, often under similar terms. These terms allowed soldiers to keep personal property and return home with dignity. After a Civil War surrender, the defeated forces would disarm, be paroled, and sent home with provisions made for their welfare. Officers might retain some personal property, all under terms designed to facilitate a peaceful end to hostilities and prevent further bloodshed.